Salmonelli and welcome back to a new video. So today we're talking all things finance. It is the end of March and as we go into spring, it's just about refreshing everything in your life, okay? So what I like to call the month end is a time where I can do a little bit of a scan of what's going on in my accounts. I've done some videos before that I will link down below that are everything to do with money and saving, but in this video I wanted to focus on a few things that I think are essential to do on that payday to help you limit your splurging and your purchases that are unnecessary and things that you probably don't need but you want. So step one, I think it's really important for people to consider using an alternative account. So for example, I bank with one bank for a lot of things where my salary goes into it, my direct debits come out of that account, and then I also have another account that I had from childhood that's just kind of sitting there dormant. It's got a few bits and bobs in it, but it's not something that I always go into. I don't go into the app consistently like I do with this app. And then I also have another app that is linked to banking with my husband. So what I've started to do is to actually give myself that little extra allowance into a totally different account that has nothing to do with the one that I check every day, because then it just makes me harder to remember it and to even think that the money's in there, okay? So that's one habit. It's kind of like you're hiding your money from yourself, but then you know that, look, once I've got all these bills out of the way and everything's done, I can kind of go back to that pot, like my treat pot, and get all these things I want. And in that time, while you're thinking about the things that you want, it kind of makes you reevaluate whether you actually need them or not. Number two is to actually look through some of the spending that you've done within that month. My favourite thing to do is to move away from the regular spends, so I have a real strong understanding of what's coming out in terms of direct debits or commitments that we have, but sometimes I go and do a food shop and it's a bit more excessive than it needs to be. Again, that's just down to maybe the time when I've done the food shop. So with that, we are doing a more clear list and we've actually started setting out meal plans, so our food shop is a lot more focused, and that's really helped in kind of making sure that when I do go out, I'm buying things that I actually want. And the third thing after that is actually the little splurges that we do. So if we've popped out with little one and he wants like a little toy, it can be £5 here, £10 there, £15 here and there, and in the grand scheme it's not a lot. You know, he's an only child, and we have that money, but also actually what you want to reflect on is starting to build that financial awareness in him, that to a certain extent for certain things you need to have prepared yourself when you're heading out that we're going to get that thing. So that's another thing we're really starting to kind of push back on and give ourselves an allowance for the things that we're spending on little one. It's only natural for him that actually if we go into a store he wants to pick something up, but now we're getting into the habit of kind of distracting him. However, that probably won't be relevant to everyone. If you're not a parent, then that might not be an issue that you're having to deal with and navigate with. But again, similar to the first step, you can kind of apply that to yourself. One that I wanted to do as a bonus one is actually putting the money into your partner's account as an alternative. So this is something that we're yet to try, but I have been thinking about it and considering it. I have a few big items that I have on my list, and unlike me, my husband isn't as impulsive. He likes to be a bit more measured with his approach. So for example, I'd like to change some of the light fixtures. I mentioned it at Christmas and we're now 3 months down the line, and he was very, very clear on some of the things that he was hoping we could get, and he said, look, we could probably get the light fixtures changed in about 6 months time, and he's quite good and sticks to his word, so I know by summertime I will have the new light fixtures and we'll get to a point of agreement. But an alternative is, if there is a big ticket item that you want and you're tempted, put that money aside with your partner, and then if you've achieved some of the other things that you've achieved, your financial habits, and you've got everything out and you have that little bit of excess, he can then ping that back over and you can have that treat. It's kind of like a reward system for yourself. Now it depends, because we all don't have the same level of like self-control. So for example, if I want a new camera lens, I'll go buy it, but like I'm saying, my partner would be a bit more measured with it. So if you know your character and know your personality, then definitely utilise people around you. If you're not in a position to kind of put it in a different account or do something a little bit different. Anyway guys, I hope you will enjoy your payday splurges. I know some people got paid a little bit earlier, some people are still going to get paid on the first of the month. But yeah, definitely try a few of these tips and tricks out and see how they work for you. Let me know in the comments down below what your favourite payday sort of money habits are and how you kind of get around splurging and doing the classic of spending most of your money in the first 48 hours of getting it. Till the next video guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to pop some comments down below and like this video if you enjoyed it as well, and don't forget to subscribe and keep in touch with most of the content that I'm sharing. Take care.